and they were preparing her to be their dinner. The orc in the cover also looks very handsome. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. This is Sinag and welcome to a new recommendations video. So in this one, I'm going to recommend you books that you can read in one sitting. So all of these books I have read in an hour or two. So all of the books that I'm going to talk about, the writing style of the author are very easy to read, and most, if not all of these books are fast-paced. The books that I'm going to talk about in this video will be in the umbrella of a novella, novelette, short stories. I'm still confused on the differences between novella, novelette, and short story. So I just titled it like books that you can read in one sitting. Aside from that, the books that I'm going to talk about in this video are all romance books. Let's now dive into the actual recommendations. So my first recommendation is Thank Me Later by Christina C. Jones. So this one is a story about Nico and B. So the main trope in this book is fake dating, and Nico actually hires B to be his date and pretend to be his girlfriend during a business function, and the reason for that is because their business was very family-centered, and they highly prioritize employees that are in a relationship or in a marriage. He needs a fake girlfriend for that so that he can basically show face to them. This is very short and very sweet, and I loved Nico and B's dynamics together and how they complement each other well. Their fake dating situation or scene are very natural as well. Like even when I read their interactions during that company party situation, they act like they are really in love with each other, and they really care for each other. I feel like their characters have depth, and you really can feel their care for each other, even though at that time they are still following their agreement. You as a reader can feel the tension and the potential of them being a real couple. So my second recommendation is Stoneheart Bride by Kati Wilde. So this is a fantasy romance naman. So this is set in the Deadlands series or world, and this is about Brom and Flora. So Flora is actually a princess, and she was actually her uncle actually tried to betroth her to Brom, so that their kingdoms or clans align, so that they can fight the ogres. So I empathize with what Flora was going through at that time. She really was pining hard on Brom. She was abducted by ogres at the start of this book, and they were preparing her to be their dinner. Brom saved her, and during the journey back home, that's where the majority of this book takes place. So this is a very short book, and I believe it is also in the Read Me Romance podcast. Kati Wilde also included or said this in her author's note that it is meant to be read in a podcast. So the length of it was meant for that. For me personally, I think this has a potential to be much more than that, to be a full-length novel. But despite that, this actually has a complete arc, I think, in terms of romance arc, even though it is very short. I feel like a fantasy romance that is not high fantasy, a fantasy romance that you can easily read and focuses more on the romance than the world building, then this book is for you. So my third recommendation is Live at 5 by Russ. So this one is a second chance romance between childhood sweethearts. So we have Olivia and David. They were actually high school sweethearts, and because of circumstances, they need to break up. So after 10 years or 10 years later, they were able to find each other again. through the television, but because David saw her on the news because she's now a news reporter. The way they reconnect was very natural, I think. They know each other, but they have spent a lot of time not being together and not having any communication. So there's this sense of familiarity between them, but at the same time, they feel like they really can't connect that much, or they really can't open up with each other again that much because of the life experiences that they have experienced during that 10-year no communication. So it's really interesting to see how Russ was able to put the backstory and the present day, and how she weaved it wonderfully, or how she weaved it well together in a way that we feel like, in a way that we don't feel like we've missed something in the relationship. If you want to read a second chance romance with the perfect balance between the backstory and the present day and the characters, and with, I think, a very natural and realistic portrayal of reconnection between childhood sweethearts, then this book is for you. So my next recommendation will be another Christina C. Jones's book. So this is Me Plus Somebody's Son. We have a second chance romance again, but this time they are not actually, or they were not actually romantically involved before. So they knew each other from college, and their situation was very interesting because okay, so our main characters are Haven and August. So Haven is actually in a relationship with August's roommate. So that's their situation back in college, but at that time they are kind of infatuated with each other. So August was pining after Haven, and years passed and they were able to reconnect during their adulthood in this small town in the Heights. I love the reconnection because August was able to be much more confident, because when they were in college back then, aside from the fact that Haven was in a relationship with his roommate, Haven also rejected him because after Haven and his roommate broke up, he kind of asked Haven for a chance for them to be together, but Haven rejected him because of the perception of other people. But I loved how August respected Haven's decision. Haven doesn't like to date during this time, and August respected her decision, while also showing her how much she meant to him. And I love that that was well taken care in this book and in his character. Like, he doesn't seem like a creepy guy to me, and you really can see his care for Haven, and you can feel how much she meant for him. And yeah, so aside from that, this also has a nude painting scene and a funny grandparents or grandma situation. So if you love that in books, then I highly recommend this to you. Haven is actually a bookkeeper, and August is a florist. So if you're interested in to read books with their line of work, then you can read this one. And August dedication in his study and in his research in plants and in helping children, it's really heartwarming to read, and very, book boyfriend vibes. So if you want to read all of that, if any of the things that I've said is your jam, then this is your book. So the next recommendation is The Noisemaker by Danielle Allen. So this one, we have established couple naman. So this is actually one of my favorite tropes because I just love reading or seeing established couples doing romantic shits together. So this one, we have Desmond and Arya. So they are going to celebrate New Year's Eve or New Year with different New Year's tradition from different countries and culture around the world. So I loved how the author incorporated that in this book, though it feels like it is not really well woven together in the story, at least for me personally. But I just love seeing I just love seeing romantic shits between couples. And aside from that, this is also very hot. Like their steamy scenes are very steamy. And I just love the length of it because it's not too long and it's not too short. It gave the right amount of things that we should know about the relationship. And I just love that we're seeing a part of their relationship, that not the entirety of it. And I just enjoy this book a lot. If you want to read a very fast romance book that is set in a holiday and they are doing different traditions from different countries and cultures, then this book is for you. And the established relationship, or them are Desmond and Arya being an established couple, is also very interesting to follow. So if you wanted to know more about or see more of the relationship, then this book is for you. So the next one is Liberated by Kimberly Brown. Our main character is Queenan. So she is actually supposed to be married to this guy. I forgot his name, but she, a day before the wedding, she told him that she doesn't want to marry him anymore, and so she goes to her honeymoon with her best friend to chill out and basically spend time by herself. And yeah, so in this vacation honeymoon situation, she met Elijah. They were actually neighbors. This is so steamy. Our main characters definitely have that sexual chemistry, and as the book progressed, we get to see them having more than that. They are compatible in more ways than one. And though this one doesn't end in a happily ever after note, this one end in a happy for now. As someone who loves happily ever after, I feel like this is too short. That's for me personally. Also get to see our main character Keenan assert herself, and her conversation with her misogynistic father is so good. So if you like to read any of that, if you like to read very steamy books, this book is for you. So the next two books that I'm recommending is written by Rilzy Adams. So Rilzy Adams is actually one of my all-time favorite authors. She's really good in creating her characters and the plot, and she's just a very great writer, in my opinion. And so I'm recommending you the two books that I read in one sitting, and both of these books are actually in her Falling Like a Johnson series. So the first one is The Gift, and this is the first book. So this is the book of hers that made me cry my eyes out at the middle of the night until morning. I wasn't able to put it down because it's just so compelling. I loved the journey the characters had, and the plot is so very dramatic and juicy for me that I just want to know what's going to happen next. So this one, we have Maya and Jackson. So Jackson has a wife named Charlotte, and Charlotte has a best friend named Maya. So that's their connection. And Jackson and Maya don't like each other. So this is an enemies to lovers romance, and they are actually enemies. Like they don't really like each other. And the only reason why they are civil with each other is because they love Charlotte, and they don't want her to stress about them. Maya is actually a surrogate for Jackson and Charlotte as well, so that's another thing. And something happened, and Charlotte unfortunately passed away, and now we have Jackson and Maya dealing with the grief of losing their loved one, which is Charlotte, and as alongside that, also preparing for the baby that Maya is carrying. And aside from that, also dealing with their animosity to each other. So this one is very heartbreaking to read. I highly recommend this a lot because I think this book really showed how good Rilzy Adams's writing style is, and how she can write characters well. The transition from enemies to friends to lovers between Maya and Jackson was so natural and so seamless for me that I really buy their story. Like I really believe that they were able to support each other and be there romantically with each other. If you like any of that and of what I've said, then I highly recommend this to you. If you haven't read any Rilzy Adams book, and if you can read this book, I highly recommend that you read this first, because I think Rilzy Adams's writing style shines in this one. So the next book from Rilzy Adams that I am recommending is Yours Always. So far, by the time of filming this video, it is the last book in the Falling Like a Johnson series, and this is actually a continuation of Katrina and Orlando's story. So Katrina and Orlando has their own book, which is book 3. I forgot the name, but it is book 3. But you can actually read this on its own. You don't have to read their first book to follow or to know what's happening, because okay, so their first book is a second chance romance. This one is an established romance. So in this one, they are already an established couple, and they are dealing with a loss of a child, and so both of them have different what do you call this, coping mechanism with regard to it, and it definitely affected their marriage. And this one, we basically see them finding ways, or we basically see them grieve their child and find ways to reconnect with each other, but with a lot of roadblocks or hurdles along the way. There's a lot of mess in here. Cheating is involved, so I just want to add that in here. So usually, cheating is really hard to be redeemed for me, or a cheater is really hard to be redeemed for me, and I stand by that. But Rilzy Adams's writing style is so compelling that I think, for me personally, I think she can redeem the worst of the worst. If you really want to know what's my personal opinion about the cheating aspect here, you can read my Goodreads review, because I go hard in that. I just want to say that if you are still contemplating about Rilzy Adams's writing style and her skill as an author, then you should definitely read this book, because I think this will solidify how great of an author she is, or how great of a writer she is. So the last book that I'm going to recommend for this video is Green-Eyed Monster by Elsie Winters. So this is a very short book, a very short fantasy book, and this one is just fun for me to read. So we have Hyrak and Solandis. Hyrak is an accounting student and Solandis is a botany student. So I loved how this one is set in a university setting, and we have different creatures, and they are also learning or doing things like normal college students or university students do. And in this one, Hyrak was actually preparing for his accounting exam, and Solandis is doing her botany project, and something happened, because this is very short, right? So I'm being vague with what happened in the story, but something happens in the story that made Hyrak save Solandis from possibly or potentially being hurt, and that's basically their meet cute. And I love their meet cute a lot because it involves her botany project, and for me personally, I find it really endearing and heartwarming. After that, Hyrak tried to help Solandis in her botany project, and romance ensues. So it's very fun and fast to read. I was actually low-key disappointed at the end, because I want more from them. I want a full-length novel of them, and I don't know, this one is just fun to read and very cozy to read as well. So I didn't expect that actually, because the cover only shows an orc's face. So what am I going to do with that? It doesn't say anything about the what do you call this, about the story, and he doesn't even look like an accounting student. So anyway, other than that, the orc in the cover also looks very handsome, if I may say so. So anyway, that's going to be it. I hope that you get some new books to read or books to add to your TBR. So tell me in the comments down below what book or books capture your interest based on what I said about them in this recommendation video. And if you have read any of these books, please comment down below what are your thoughts about it. And if you have any book recommendations for me that I can read in one sitting, please comment it down below as well. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you wanted to support me. And also, don't forget to click the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. All of my socials are going to be linked in the description down below. That's all for me for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!